Hey guys, SimmersDim Gaming here, back with a brand new video, this time talking about Delta Force. Now, Delta Force released on Steam on the 5th of December, and it has a couple of modes, but the mode we're going to go over is the extraction style mode. Now, I've only played, I'd say, about 6 to 7 hours at the time of this video, but I have experience on other extraction style shooters, namely Escape from Tarkov. What I think the Delta Force extraction mode is, it's a very good cross between Call of Duty's DMZ and Escape from Tarkov. It just sits right in the middle. It's not as casual as DMZ, but it's nowhere near as hardcore as Escape from Tarkov. But it has elements that make it, like I said, sit in the middle, and we're going to talk over them. DMZ is basically Call of Duty multiplayer on a bigger map, certain bits of loot and extractions, whereas Escape from Tarkov is obviously quite hardcore. Delta Force does have some more hardcore elements. For example, you have body armor and helmets which actually have plate ratings and like armor levels, so that is a bit more hardcore. Whereas DMZ, you just have to physically find armor plates and your character just shoves armor plates on, so that is obviously the casual side. But again, Delta Force does it quite well, where you physically have armor and it has its actual rating. So as you can see on the screen, my armor was 68 out of 73, which means it's taken a hit and it's not full durability. Escape from Tarkov, for example, you have magazines, and then you have to literally put every single bullet in the magazine, and you have to physically have the magazines and the ammo on you. However, in the Delta Force extraction mode, you basically just have to have the bullets you need, and then that is your ammo. There's no actual separate magazines and things like that. One of the things that makes it not as hardcore an experience is, so for example, in DMZ and Escape from Tarkov, you just have your character. You don't have any skills or anything like that. But in the Delta Force extraction mode, you actually pick a character. So you actually pick one of the characters, like the medic who has the medic gun and smoke grenades, or you can pick the engineer that has an engineering tool, and he also has a rocket launcher as his special weapon. So it kind of has that more casual element to it, which definitely does take away from the hardcore nature of games like this. It's not a bad thing, because you can essentially have a team medic and you can have an engineer and things like that. It's fun, but it's definitely not a hardcore thing about the game, and it does take away from it overall. But I do enjoy it, because I like playing as a medic. The only annoying thing is obviously I can't choose what grenades I get, and I can't pick up grenades. I just have smokes, which is fine, but if you need to push, I'd rather have a frag. The good thing about this mode is it does have a progression system. You basically can't just use any weapon you want, get any gear you want, things like that. You actually have to do missions, which are actually quite fun, and they're quite well thought out. You get different types of missions, such as kill 10 enemies with a Car 15, go to these areas and examine things, find items, extract with a certain amount of medical items, for example. It's quite fun. Obviously, a lot of these kind of games do that because it does give you something to do instead of just hunting for PvP. There is also a hideout, and you can upgrade it. Then once you've upgraded it, you can do certain things and unlock other things as well. So it's got quite a good progression model. Another thing that's interesting is the medical system. Again, it's not as complicated as Escape from Tarkov or Grey Zone Warfare, but it is a little bit more intuitive than something like DMZ. Basically, you can break limbs, you need to then stint them. You can also bandage yourself up and heal yourself. Your character will tell you in its menu what is actually wrong. So if you go into your inventory, there's a little health tab. You click on that, and then it will show that you need to splint your arm or you need to splint your leg, and you physically have to use those items. So it's not just a case of healing item, armor item. You have different kinds of medical items. It's really interesting. Again, not as complicated as Tarkov or Grey Zone, but still intuitive, and it doesn't hinder you too much in combat. It's not as hardcore, there's some casualness to it, so it's not a bother when you're in a firefight. It is interesting coming from someone that's played, at this point, almost 1,900 hours of Escape from Tarkov. I know compared to some players that's rookie numbers, but that's no time to be laughed at. That's still a lot of experience in my opinion, the most hardcore extraction shooter out there. This game definitely isn't trying to be Tarkov, it just takes some of the things that work in those kind of games and implements it in its own way, and then it does cater also to the more casual players. To be honest, if you find games like Grey Zone Warfare and Escape from Tarkov a little bit too hardcore, but you don't want to play DMZ or Warzone because they are too casual in the way they implement things, then this is one I would probably recommend. Because bear in mind as well, this entire game is free. You can download it for no extra cost. That's it for the video, guys. It's just my 2 cents on the extraction mode that comes with Delta Force. I do personally recommend it as someone that's burnt out from Escape from Tarkov currently. This just gives me that kind of itch, but without the stress. Let me know what you think in the comments below. SimmersDimGaming. I'll see you in the next one.